Revelers, this is Off the Rails, Right versus Left, the podcast that we do because we think the left is evil. I'm Rob B.
And I'm Brad Lee.
And I'm Brian G.
And we are Off the Rails, Right versus Left. Again, we're doing this show because we think everybody needs to know that the left is evil.
Classic.
All right, guys, welcome to Off the Rails, Right versus Left. Unfortunately, Brian's in the air, and Brad is probably off to bed already because he gets up super early because he's working class stiff like the most of America. But I had to get on today. Sick. I haven't been um, streaming or anything. Oh, isn't this funny? Suddenly, I want to talk about this topic, and I'm having all kinds of problems with my computer all of a sudden, out of nowhere. Wonder how that happens. Anyway, so I had to get on and I had to talk about this. Now, before I do have to say, point blank, I love my life. I have a wonderful life, and I plan to continue living my life. Okay? That's never, ever, ever, ever going to change. So if anything, any other course of action happens, wasn't my choice. So just keeping that clear. Now, here's what I've got to say. And I actually said this, like the first time somebody tried to assassinate Trump, I said Biden did it. Okay. Now, with the first assassination attempt, there was the link to the mysterious cell phone that had been in proximity to the FBI offices in DC. Oh, we can dismiss it. Okay. But what we can't dismiss is not just that the Secret Service didn't cover the most likely building for a shooter to take a shot at Trump, but that the shooter knew exactly where to be. Okay. And then the fact that, yeah, his dad's supposedly libertarian. I don't buy that for a second because there's no way a libertarian would be able to tolerate a Democrat. That's just not happening. They're complete opposite ends. A libertarian wants no government. So he probably registered as a libertarian so they could split the tickets and interfere with the primaries, which is probably why the son was registered as a Republican, so he can interfere with the primaries, evidenced by the fact that he donated to Act Blue. Okay, so that's the first assassination attempt. So let's take a look at the second assassination attempt that happened here today. Okay, Trump's golf today was not on any travel plans. He was not scheduled to go and play golf. Nobody knew where he was going to be. Yet somehow the shooter did. Not only did the shooter know where he was going to be, he knew about what time he needed to be at that specific hole to be able to catch Donald Trump. Now, thank God, the Secret Service agents that are on his ground team are actually doing their jobs. Okay, you could see that. His personal detail was all over him in the first attempt, and they were all over him on this attempt. Okay, and one of his advanced team guys managed to get shots at the would-be shooter in this case. Okay, but there's no way that this is accidental. Okay, so you guys have got to see this. Okay, this is actually Hodge Twins found this. Okay, and it's kind of hard to see here, but what's highlighted down here in the bottom, actually, I think I could see it better before I zoomed in. But down here, this conviction, April of 2002, Class F felony, possession of a weapon of mass destruction. Okay, so you look at the rest record, weapons charges, and possessing stolen goods. How was this guy out on the street? Okay, not only was he out on the street, he was working to further the Biden administration's goals of getting people fighting in Ukraine. He was working at what most Republicans consider to be a traitor, not only to the party, to the country, Adam Kinzinger, who happens to be a CNN guy. Oh yeah, let's pull this ass clown up. Hold on. I got this too. So let's switch to this tab. All right, so here we go. We got Ryan Ruth. Wow, he lives in Hawaii, but he was in Miami working on building shacks for the government to house their illegal aliens. Okay? Oh, hold on, hold on. I want this to go back. Bear with me. It's not going back. Okay, hold on. This doesn't have the whole one on it. Hopefully, this has the next one. It does say that he's also LGBTQIA plus plus plus. Okay, recruiting people to go and fight in Ukraine. Now, mind you, you probably can't go and search all this because they're quickly removing all of his social media. And look at this. He's communicating in Arabic too. So, how is this guy not on the radar? Okay. How did this clown not only not be on the radar, but how did this clown find out exactly where the president was, where he was going to be? Somebody in the Secret Service are giving these guys information. This guy would have had to talk to the FBI at some point. He was convicted of carrying a weapon of mass destruction. The FBI would have been involved. I want to know who took care of his case. I want to know if the person who took care of his case made any trips to Pennsylvania before the last assassination attempt. Okay, but there is no way in hell 2 times in a row the Secret Service allowed somebody to get within a shot's range of Donald Trump unless they did it intentionally. So I don't know whose orders they're taking, whether it's the bureaucratic deep state trying to take out Donald Trump, or whether it's the Biden-Harris administration trying to take out Donald Trump. But somebody in the government is trying to take out Donald Trump. There is absolutely no way. This is not coincidental. It was not an accident that twice now a shooter who was not a trained assassin got almost close enough to assassinate Trump. Well, close enough to assassinate Trump twice. Okay. If this hadn't been a golf course with trees all over the place, obstructing the line of sight to the next hole, he could have had a shot at Trump. That's how close this is. And the last one, they let him get a straight line of sight on him. Okay. And this guy would have gotten away if it had not been for a bystander seeing the guy taking a picture of the car and reporting it. So then they would have once again been like, oh, somebody tried to kill Donald Trump, but we can't get any answers. I don't think if it hadn't been for the local police finding that guy, that we would have ever known what happened. It never would have come out through Secret Service investigations. It would have never come out during FBI investigations because they are all in. That's the reason why they keep calling Trump a threat to American democracy, because they want somebody to do something about it. And somebody is leaving all the doors open for somebody to do it. This idea that, oh, well, he's not getting the detail of a president. The detail needs to take an appropriate response to the threat level. And once the shot was fired at him last time, he should have had the same protective detail as the president, period. But at this point, I'm pretty sure somebody in the Secret Service is trying to help the Biden administration get Donald Trump killed, or directly trying to kill him without taking the shot themselves. It may be only a matter of time before they actually take the shot themselves. And if that happens, don't be surprised. And remember that I said it could happen. This is not an accident. This is not coincidence. These people are getting this close because they want people to get this close to Donald Trump. Now, It also does a great job taking away. Last time it happened, there was a debate. It became pretty freaking clear Donald Trump was going to win the election, and then somebody tried to take him out. Okay. Now he has a debate with Kamala, despite the fact that it was a 3-on-1 attempted beatdown. Donald Trump, little frazzled, but still came out pretty much unscathed. So they still see him as a threat, and somebody tries to take him out again. Okay. I'm not going to just be like all these commentators and podcasters say, oh, we need to tone down the rhetoric. Okay. No, the rhetoric doesn't need to be toned down. It needs to stop. Period. Okay. We already know what ideology kills millions of people. And that's socialists, which is what Kamala Harris is. It's fascist, which is what Biden's trying to be. Okay? Not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is trying to get the government out of everything. And Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, the Clintons, they're all trying to get the government to control everything. They want to tell you where you can live, where you can drive, what you can drive, where you can go, where you can spend your money, what medicines you have to take, all of it. They're trying to tell you all of this. That's fascistic. So the continued BS that Donald Trump is a fascist only serves one purpose. A, they're covering for their own fascistic tendencies, and B, they're trying to get Donald Trump destroyed because he is a threat to the bureaucrats that are actually in control, because nobody in this country believes that Biden is in control. He's not in control. Okay? And Harris is out trying to be the next puppet. So she's not in control. And if she won, she wouldn't be in control. But the people that really are in control know they can't control Donald Trump. So he's a threat. So they're trying to take him out. And that includes somebody in the Secret Service. If there's ever a real investigation to this, I bet it's going to be just like the CIA took out Kennedy. In this case, it's going to be the Secret Service trying to take out Trump. Hands down. There is no question in my mind. You know, and I'm like so irritated with people in this country because they look and grab like bright, shiny baubles and they just don't pay attention. Okay. You know what? I'm irritated as hell with Trump. I'm borderline on voting for Chase Oliver because I'm a libertarian. After the first assassination trip, I'm like, okay, that was badass. I got to vote for Trump. Okay. But then he still went on and acted like a petulant child during the debate. And you know what? His line the next day was great. But that's the line he should have delivered to the American people. If I seem mad, yeah, I am mad. They're 3-on-1 attacking me to try and cover up for what this woman has done to this country. That's what he should have said in the debate. Okay? Instead, he's got to sit there and quibble about the size of things. Okay? So I'm beginning to think that there really was a concern about his small hands because he's awfully obsessed with size. Okay? Donald Trump, put your ego aside if you want to save the country, or they're going to steal the election, because whining about what they did before is not going to stop them from doing it now. Okay? Give us an action plan, a game plan. What are you doing to stop them from doing it again? What lawsuits are going on right now to purge all the voting rolls of illegal immigrants and people that are dead and people that are out of state, and to investigate how many of those people have been still voting since they've been dead and since they've been out of state and as illegal immigrants. Okay, these investigations need to be going on. But Donald Trump's not doing any of that because he's flapping his gums. Okay, and Laura Trump is over involved with the Republican National Committee. I get you got 100,000 volunteers. You got lawyers ready. If you wait until it's already happened, it's going to be too late. Okay. And the New York Times just broadcast, oh, you're not going to have the results right away. And the winner might not be who it thinks it's going to be. The New York Times already broadcasted they're planning to steal the election. Okay. So you need to get on stopping the steal before it happens. Okay. That was the problem last time, okay? They're going to spread out the cheating so they can try and say that you don't have standing to challenge it. They're going to do all the same stuff. And if you don't get in front of it, it's going to be too late after the election. And if Kamala Harris gets elected again, our Democratic Republic falls because she will replace half of the population of this country with people that are going to be beholden to her. She's going to destroy the rest of our economy, and the Americans that work in this country, fight in this country, die for this country, live in this country, and love in this country are going to lose their country because Trump has an ego and can't shut up and think long enough to actually make the points that are in his head, because he makes them later, but he needs to just calm himself and make them in the moment. Okay? Including this. Great. Call for peace and unity. Also call out the fact that Kamala Harris and Biden and all the other Democrats like Schumer and Pocahontas and Nazi Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Chavez, all those people are trying to get you killed. You need to call it out. Flat, point blank. They try and level stuff at you and nothing's happening. They try and say that you're bringing out political violence, and there's no political violence from the right. There is political violence from the left. We had a whole summer of political violence in 2020. After you were inaugurated, we had riots in Washington, D.C. at the Capitol. They burnt down a church. Didn't hear anything about it. Didn't hear you talking about it. You were the president of the United States. You should have been talking about it every day. Okay? I'm tired of you acting like an arrogant prick that's going to push your way into doing everything. You need to start talking about the things that matter to this country and not in quips and not in being clever, but you actually need to make some statements of facts of what's going on in this country. Okay? And when the media tries to push back and say, oh, that's a conspiracy theory, and you say, yes, it is, very proudly, because for the last 10 years, every conspiracy theory about the things the Democrats are doing has been true. So that's what you need to do. If you keep trying to play their game, you're going to lose it. The American people that are supporting you because you are not one of them. So stop trying to act like them. Stop trying to run with them. Stop worrying about their insults, because in business, you're not going to care if somebody insults you if you make the money. Here, you don't need to care if they try and insult you if you get the votes. So go get the votes. Stop whining. Stop bitching. Just get to the message, which should definitely include not just platitudes about how freaking evil these people are. Give specific examples. She's a communist. Oh, how's she a communist? Well, she wants to take control of the economy. She wants to tell businesses what prices they can sell for stuff, what they can sell, and what you can buy. That's communism, socialism, fascism, Marxism. It's somewhere on that Marxist scale. Okay? You have to remember, these people have been responsible for education in this country, and nobody understands in this country, especially like anybody under like 30. They don't have a freaking clue what socialism, communism, Marxism even is. So if you just throw out a platitude about what communism is, or socialism, or fascism, it just bounces off of them. Oh, he's just saying mean words. No, you're not saying mean words. You're saying what their political ideology is. So you need to say that this is their political ideology, and then you need to back it up with the receipts. This shows that they're socialists. This shows that they're communists. This shows that they're fascists. Because there's lots of evidence of it. And I'm not just talking about Bernie Sanders. Okay, and you've got the golden goose running against you right now. The most liberal senator in history is running against you, and you can't make the case that she's a socialist. Okay, and LGBTQ Waltz and his sham marriage where he's pretending he's not gay. You can't make a case against this guy. They're talking him up like he's the king of masculinity, and he comes out looking like Mary Poppins every time he walks out on stage. And you can't make a case against this guy? You can't make the case. Oh, somewhere in the country, they're killing babies after birth. Okay, well, how about you point out the fact that Tim Walz, the candidate for vice president in his state, you can call any abortion clinic, tell them you are a woman who is 39 weeks pregnant and you need an abortion, and they will set an appointment for you. And if you ask them, what if I go into labor in the middle of the process, they will tell you they will take care of it. And that's in Governor Walz's state. And he's going to try and do it everywhere. Okay? You need to tie their communist, anti-human, demonic policies directly to them and not in platitudes and generalities. Because the people that have your back already have your back. Okay? Unless you blow it with them, they're still going to have your back. Okay? But if you don't talk in a way that you can get through to the people that are moderate, that are in the middle, that don't realize how evil these Kabbalists and demonic occultists are, you're going to lose the election again. Okay? You wouldn't listen to anybody last time, and the entire American people, our entire country, everybody in this country has had to suffer for your arrogance for the last 3.5, almost 4 years, because you couldn't get your ego out of the way to talk about what matters. You couldn't get your ego out of the way to realize, hey, I might not be popular enough to make this win too big to steal, so we better make sure they can't steal it ahead of time. You don't have to be in charge before that, because guess what? All over the country, you got sheriffs that are actually law-abiding citizens. They can go out and watch for people that are breaking the law. That's action that you can put in. You can work out hotlines. Great, you got 100,000 volunteers that are going to watch. Who are they going to report to? Who's going to take action on it? Who's going to prevent the cheating from happening? Okay, great. The letter carriers, they may mess with the election again. What are you doing to make sure they don't? Put your ego aside. You are not so popular because you are kind of a pig. You've been a pig your whole goddamn life. So you're enough of a pig that when you could have 75% of the country, you don't. You should have 75% of this country behind you against this crazy cackling cow, Kamala Harris. But the reason you don't is because of your ego. Your ego is the only thing that keeps you from getting to that 70%, 75%. You should be in command of the biggest landslide election victory in the history of America because of how bad they've destroyed this country. But you can't get around your ego to think out the connections to tie these people with giant 50-inch links of chain to the freaking policies that they use to destroy our country and to hurt the American people. I listened to your speeches at your rallies over and over and over again. You might change a thing here or there. Every freaking time I hear you whine. You're a 70-year-old man and you're still whining like you're a 10-year-old that got your candy taken away. It's pathetic. You know, and that level of patheticness, I don't understand it, because what I saw after they shot at you the first time was probably the strongest leader I've ever seen. And ever since the RNC and they anointed Kamala, you've sounded like the biggest whiny baby I've ever seen in my life. Get back to the strong leader. Take this election with 70% of the vote and save this country. I think you can do it if you can put your ego down long enough to do it. And that's all I've got to say on it. But make no mistake, if you don't start painting the picture real quick, we're not going to be hearing anymore about your attempted assassinations. What we're going to hear is some liberal clown some diehard communist succeeded because somebody in the Secret Service is helping them. Somebody in the FBI is helping them. It's probably on the orders of somebody in the Biden administration. This government has killed presidents before. You wouldn't be the first and you won't be the last, I'm sure, unless we just don't have elections anymore because you let Kamala Harris win.